Hey guys, Brian Prince here. I recently did a video on the HomePod and how to set it up with Dolby Atmos. A few people had questions about the sound quality itself and if I had the option to compare it against something else. So I figured, well, why not compare it against another HomePod? So I went and got a Homepodmini and we're gonna take a look and see how it sounds. Let's go. And here they are. On the right, we have the Homepodmini, and on the left, we have the HomePod. The large HomePod fills a very large space. A single HomePod can easily fill a large office space or even a showroom-sized space. I went for a whole year on just one HomePod, and I'm kicking myself now because two large HomePods add a lot of flavor to that sound. The Dolby Atmos sound on HomePod is fantastic. Check out the mesh. Right? Very nice. Acoustic mesh. The big HomePod. Specifically designed for sound. What's the current wind speed?
Wind speed is currently 7 miles per hour.
Well, first of all, you could even hear that Siri on this HomePod is a lot lighter, softer. What's the current wind speed?
The wind's blowing at 7 miles per hour, northwest right now. My weather data is provided by the Weather Channel.
Great. So that Siri turned all the way up. And you can see immediately that the sound on the Homepodmini is much lighter than the sound on the HomePod, on the original HomePod. All right, let's go ahead and play some music and see how it sounds. So this is the HomePod original. And as you can feel it, you can actually feel the bass. Obviously, you can't tell through the video, but you can actually feel the bass. All right, now let's try that same song on the Homepodmini. Huge difference in the sound quality. The Homepodmini sounds much softer. It does not have that lower bass that you can feel. Still good, still much better than I expected it to be, but not the full-size quality. Both songs were playing at 50%. In order for me to get some real oomph out of the Homepodmini, I have to crank it up all the way. Also, one of the things I noticed about the Homepodmini is that whenever any type of audio is coming from the Homepodmini, this LED light indicator is showing. It looks a little brighter on the camera than it does in real life. It's very faint, but I did notice that the big HomePod does not have that same issue. So I've heard that the Homepodmini sounds a little better in the mid-range acoustic range. The previous song that we were listening to was it was hip hop, so it had a little more bass to it and a little more kick. You could feel it a little bit better. But let's try something a little less thumpy and see how we get with some guitars and maybe even some pop sounds. Let's see. Now this is the volume at 50%. So that guitar strumming sounds really, really crisp, really clear. I can hear it, no problem. But again, that lower bass kicking, thumping sound, it just does not have the same feel as it would on the big HomePod. Let's switch to the big HomePod. So immediately we can feel and hear the difference. Even though it's through camera, we can still feel and hear the difference. The table is actually literally vibrating on this HomePod. So that's immediate switch back and forth between the big HomePod and the small HomePod. Let's try some more. Let's try one more song. So this is a much softer song, much clearer song. We're at about 50%. I feel like I can hear and articulate every bit of the piano solo and every sound coming through. The HomePod Mini does great on sounds and softer sounds in that mid-range, even some of the high ranges. At $99, Apple did not skimp out on anything when it comes to the sound. Now let's switch over to the big HomePod and see exactly what we get. And yes, it's just so much fuller. So much fuller. I don't think anybody's surprised by this. All right, so here we are. Where do we stand? Well, I don't think there was really ever any question that the big HomePod was going to sound better than the small HomePod Mini. A large HomePod fills a very large space. The original HomePod can fill a very large space. A single HomePod can easily fill a large hall, a showroom, no problem. And to be honest with you, at $300 a pop, you'd kind of expect that type of sound quality, that type of bass to be above the rest. Two large HomePods adds a lot of flavor, a lot of extra feel. I like to feel my sound, and you definitely get that with two large HomePods, especially when you add on the fact that you get Dolby Atmos. What would be the cons of the big HomePod? Well, the price is big at $300. And to really feel the sound, you're going to need two of those. Most people are going to kind of think about that. They're going to hesitate that. I think there are a lot of extra options on the market at the $300 price point. The other issue with the main HomePod is the fact that there is no subwoofer that comes with it. So it's clear that Apple is kind of moving into the home theater quality. But with no subwoofer, how much can you really feel that sound? How far are you going to really be able to go on that sound? Those are the two cons for the main HomePod. For the HomePod Mini, I think Apple has really kind of a home run on their end. It's perfect at the $99 price point, especially when you combine everything that you get for that $99. Siri, you still get Apple Music, you still get live radio, you still get intercom support, you still get HomeKit support. Apple really doesn't skimp out for the $99 price point. And I think for that reason, it's going to make a great gift, and it is just the perfect speaker. The only real con that I have with the HomePod Mini is the fact that you really can't feel that bass. The minis are perfect for smaller spaces, especially if they're walled off like a bedroom or mini kitchens. So what, if any, are the cons for the HomePod Mini? Well, it definitely lacks that bass. It lacks the fullness of the big HomePod, but it has less speakers. And at that price point, you're really going to start to wonder, are there cheaper speakers that can give me a comparable price? I think the selling point of the HomePod Mini is the Apple ecosystem, if you ask me. If you're into the Apple ecosystem and you use Siri, you could see yourself using the intercom feature. You have Apple Music. Apple Music's huge. If you have Apple Music, then I think it's a no-brainer. I think you should go for the HomePod Mini for the different rooms. HomePod has to be for the main rooms. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like it. Please subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Brian Prince, and see you next time. So this is 2 HomePods set up in stereo. Now I'm only at 50% volume.